The moments before your eyes close under anesthesia are like falling asleep with an adrenaline rush. You think you never will. On April 22nd, 2008, at 14, I went under anesthesia for a procedure that I knew would be life-changing. In those last few moments, I felt like a camera, trying helplessly to capture every moment. I wanted so badly to hold on to the fear, confusion, and pain that I had felt for weeks, because somehow the fear, confusion, and pain that you know is less scary than the fear, confusion, and pain that you don't, but you anticipate. I'd indeed woke up to a diagnosis I knew very little of, and one that would change my life. So this summer, when I had the opportunity to watch the same procedure be performed on an 11-year-old girl whose doctor expected her to have the same diagnosis, I had an insight into how she felt. The disease is inflammatory bowel disease, which is actually a blanket term for two distinct but related diseases: ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. Both are incurable and autoimmune. The body attacks itself. My body has ulcerative colitis. My body can't differentiate the good cells of my colon from bad infectious cells, so it does what it's trained to do when it sees a cell it doesn't recognize as my own. It tries to destroy it. Ulcerative colitis is an autoimmune attack against the colon. Crohn's disease is a similar autoimmune attack against any part of the digestive tract. Both forms of inflammatory bowel disease are painful, incurable, unpredictable, and require lifelong treatment. I've always been driven to do something about it, particularly since I feel like I've been lucky. I've been in remission longer than any of my friends. This summer, that drive to do something brought me to North Carolina, where I spent 10 weeks interning in a research lab, looking for a cure. While I was there, a doctor invited me to step out of the laboratory and be there for this procedure that would likely change this young 11-year-old girl's life in the way that mine had been changed. Under anesthesia herself, she didn't even know I was there, but watching her, I felt like a camera again. To stand beside her bed was like standing beside my own bed in 2008, and I thought about what I wanted for her. I want for her to have a cure, but scientific research is slow. There's another need for standardized, comprehensive care for every child. And that up-to-date care can't just be at a handful of leading hospitals. It has to be everywhere that the kids that need it are. Inflammatory bowel disease is everywhere, and so doctors everywhere need to have the tools and resources to treat it effectively so that the most kids get into long-lasting remissions. And remissions aren't only important for kids to get back to doing the things that kids love. Remissions are certainly important for that reason, but they're also important because we don't have enough effective treatments. We need the ones that we do have to work at their optimum because we have a finite number. Let me introduce you to ImproveCareNow, a collaborative care network of 63 hospitals working together to provide the best inflammatory bowel disease care to children and teenagers. While my colleagues in the lab this summer and others around the world work for a cure and better treatments, ImproveCareNow works to make sure the ones we have at this very moment work the best that they possibly can. 63 care centers, 520 pediatric gastroenterologists, 18,200 children and families living with inflammatory bowel disease, Together, ImproveCareNow is the power of people. Teams of experts at all of these centers push themselves to reach beyond the walls of their institutions, sharing insights and support that enable all of them to deliver more reliable and proactive care. Ideas, tools, techniques, knowledge, and innovations are the strings that connect center to center, doctor to doctor, patient to patient, parent to parent, and most importantly, connections that defy those divisions, regardless of where a child lives or the circumstances in which they live. Every child deserves the best care. Before ImproveCareNow, there had virtually been no improvement in pediatric inflammatory bowel disease outcomes for decades. In 2007, when ImproveCareNow was formed, 50% of children with inflammatory bowel disease were in remission. That means 1 in every 2 children with the disease were struggling. Today, 77% of the children treated at ImproveCareNow centers are thriving in remission. In just a few short years, ImproveCareNow has become the leading learning health system for children in the nation. And this is without the introduction of any new treatments during that time. Just an all-teach, all-learn, collaborative approach to medicine. I co-chair the Patient Advisory Council for all 63 centers on the national level. As co-chair of the Patient Advisory Council, I work to build a young and vibrant group of leaders, teenagers and young adults who co-shape the very foundation of the network who serves them. Of the 18,200 patients enrolled in ImproveCareNow, how many should be able to influence the network that provides their care? I say all. Pediatric patients are by definition young, but the power of ideas is not age dependent. What we do is so much more than saying, hey, here's a comment card. We put patients on innovation development teams, quality improvement teams. We value the power of a story that can shape so many other stories in a positive way. We value the power of a single patient who understands better than anyone else how it feels to be a patient. When we value what everyone has to offer, we drive better outcomes. And more than any numbers, a more intelligent, more cohesive, and more hopeful community. There's a 12-year-old girl in North Carolina with inflammatory bowel disease. And this is what I want most for her to know. That her voice has power. That because teams of experts came together and shared what they could have kept to themselves in a world where collaboration is tragically undervalued, she has a better chance of getting into remission and doing what she loves. And more than anything, that she has the power to activate change in that same system that has activated change in the lives of so many young people with inflammatory bowel disease, including me. ImproveCareNow has given me an extraordinary opportunity to do something with experiences I never expected to have. But I've learned it's not about the power I yield as an individual. The power of collaboration is greater than the power of any single person. Thank you.